So from the Dollar Tree, I had one of these buffalo check scarves, which I already cut down into strips. And I also had some of this fabric glue. I also picked up four of these ornament decorations, and they're just white bells. And I also had in my stash these decor bunny tails from the springtime, and they're just on a little alligator clip. And you're also going to need some jute twine and a needle. And if you want to see how all these items come together, then all you have to do is stick around and continue watching. So to begin with, we're going to start by removing all of these alligator clips from our bunny tails. But what I'm going to show you here in a second is that I did notice some exposure. You can see the inside of the bunny tail when trying to remove that alligator clip. Not so much with the first one that I did, but sometimes these things happen. But nothing that we can't resolve with a little bit of that fabric adhesive that I showed. And what I'm going to be doing is fusing together some of that fur with this liquid adhesive so that I won't have to connect my hot glue gun and burn my fingers. So I'm going to continue to remove all of these alligator clips from the rest of the bunny tails and repairing any damage necessary. And don't be so quick to toss these little alligator clips because I'm sure you could always use them in a future projects. So now we're going to be gluing the fabric down with some of this liquid adhesive, and we're basically just going to be fusing the fur together and sealing up whatever exposure is in the middle there, and that's just about it. Okay, little disclaimer here, guys. The liquid adhesive was a fail, and I did have to whip out the trusty old glue gun. Those little alligator clips caused quite some damage, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be to fuse it with that liquid adhesive. So now what I'm going to be doing is sort of reshaping these balls, if you will, and just kind of giving it that snowball effect. Remember, they were originally bunny tails, so they had a different kind of awkward shape to them. So I'm just going to be shaping them so that they're nice and round. So next up, we're going to start by removing the tags from these bell ornaments. And I think these bell ornaments are so beautiful, guys. I'm so in love with them. And I'm probably going to be leaving that jute rope hanger on them because who knows, I might want to repurpose them later on down the line. So I'm going to hang on to them. So now that we got all of our prep work out of the way by removing all of those tags from our bells, we're going to proceed by stringing our bells onto this jute twine. So moving forward, we're going to take this jute, and it's not necessary to tie it because we're just going to be stringing it. And we're going to be stringing one bunny tail, one bell, one bunny tail, one bell, in that order. So for starters, we're going to start by taking this little faux snowball that we created using the bunny tails, and we're going to pierce the needle in from one end and out through the other. And I'm not going to kid you, this did take quite some manipulating and a little bit of a struggle, but I promise you it'll be all worth it in the end. So the rest is history once you're able to fandangle that needle through that little snow puff. It wasn't an easy task, I can tell you, but nonetheless, I was able to achieve what I wanted to, and so the string is still intact like I'm showing you, and you're going to want to guide that little snowball puff as far down on the jute as you can, because you want to make room for the others that are going to be joining, because you're going to do one bell, one snowball, one bell, and then in between we're going to be tying pieces of that buffalo check scarf in between as well. And this is what we got going so far, guys. And I just wanted to show you that initially I was considering stringing it right through this little hanger that it has on the ornament, but I noticed that it was hanging too low. And so in order for it to be level with the snowball, this is how I did it. I just strung it underneath that greenery. It has a little hole, and so I just strung the string from one end to another underneath the greenery, and I didn't use the hanger. So here I'm showing you how I was able to save my fingers and make my life a whole lot easier by utilizing these pliers. And I was able to guide that needle through so much better that way. And I'm so grateful that I stumbled across this solution because my fingers were beginning to numb. So now that we strung our last bell, I'm now able to remove the needle off of the jute rope. And so I'm removing it, and now we're going to be able to tie a hanger on the end, so to speak, like I did on the other side. And I'm going to leave plenty of room for adjusting because I really don't know how much I'm going to be needing where I'm going to hang it at. So I make sure to add extra and tie it loosely so that I'm able to do any adjusting necessary. So now that we have all our snowballs and bells strung, it's now time to add the pieces of fleece fabric onto the garland. So you're going to start by taking these two end pieces, tucking it under the jute, and then tucking your fingers through the bottom loop, and then grabbing those two end pieces and pulling through. Never letting go of those two pieces as you're pulling the fabric through. The reason for this is that if you let it go, then one side is going to be shorter than the other, and you want them to be even. And this is the look that we're going for, sort of like a men's tie kind of look. And so once again, I'm going to show you really quickly. You're going to take the two end pieces, piercing them together, pinching them with your fingers, tucking it under the jute, opening up that loop on the bottom, tucking it through, and then pulling, never letting those two ends go. And this is the look that I'm trying to achieve, sort of like a men's tie. One last time, I'm showing you here. I've got my two end pieces tucked under the jute, and I'm putting my fingers through the loop, and then I'm pulling those two end pieces through the loop, and now I'm pulling on the tails of the end pieces and pushing up on the rest of the fabric to create that knot like a tie. So here's a review of the final project, and I have them strung here on top of my curtain rod because I don't have a fireplace mantle, although I wish I did, but this is going to have to do for now. I'm very happy with the end result, and I hope you are too. This entire project took me about 15 minutes to create, and it was very simple and easy to do. This has to be by far one of my top Christmas DIYs to date. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, I'd appreciate a big thumbs up. It will help my channel out a lot. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd like to welcome you to go on ahead and do so. Also, hit that post notification bell so that YouTube will notify you each time I upload new content.